Welcome to Pasir's Mangrove, one of the few remaining mangrove forests in Singapore. These forests are actually located in sort of the boundary between like coastal areas and inland areas, which means that the water here is something called brackish water, which means that its salt content lies somewhere between salt water and fresh water. You can see the effects of the tides from the sea nearby in like these lots of streams in the soil. You can see that they are flowing quite rapidly, which means that the tide is coming in. Mangrove forests are actually very complex ecosystems, as the trees that grow around here actually have various adaptations to suit the different parts of the mangrove that they thrive in. So in more inland areas of the mangrove such as this, which is known as a back mangrove, you can see that the roots are lower in level. And you can also see different types of roots, such as buttress roots, which are the roots that sort of slope in a 45-degree angle, as well as knee roots, which protrude from the soil in a sort of a 90-degree angle fashion. And these roots actually help to break up the sediment, which allows more gases to enter the soil and help the trees to respire. This is in contrast to the trees nearer to the shoreline, which have stilt roots. And stilt roots help to elevate these trees above the water line, such that they can remain above the water and actively respire.
And over here, we have Nipah frutican, also known as Nipah palm. So one fun fact about this plant is that it's the only plant in its genus. And if you look closely at the bottom, you realize that this plant does not have any stems at all. Another thing about the leaves, right, is that it is used to make atap roofs. And the fruit of this plant are used to make atap tree found in the deserts. Unfortunately, we are unable to find any right now.
Wow, there's a lot to see over here. Okay, so down there, right there, is an equatorial spitting cobra. It's one of the very few venomous snake species that are native to Singapore. And the reason why it's called an equatorial spitting cobra is because it can actually spit its venom up to 2 meters in distance. Cobras belong to the family Elapidae, which means that their fangs are always extended and are located at the front of their mouth, as compared to like other venomous snakes such as vipers, which have like more hinged fangs, which only swing out and extend when they open their mouths. Over there, we can also see a Malayan water monitor, and we can see it feeding on a few crabs in the soil. This is the second largest species of lizard in the world, behind the Komodo dragon, and they're actually very adept at swimming and maneuvering in water. As you can see, it is right now in the water, and it is also feeding on crabs, and which they like to feed on in these areas. But Malayan water monitors are also scavengers, which means that they feast on carrion that is dead, rotting bodies of other animals. Try not to approach these animals because they are actually venomous, and if they bite you, not only can your wound get infected, but it can also inject venom inside your wound. Wait, there's more in this spot! Over here we can also see a giant mud skipper. Now this may look like a frog or some sort of amphibian, but it's actually a fish. It's a fish adapted to more amphibious lifestyle, which means that it can live in both the water and on the ground. As you can see right now, it is currently partially submerged in the water, but its eyes, which are adapted to be located on top of its head so that it can look around on land to find food. What this particular mud skipper usually does is that it stores water inside of its mouth in order to use that water to extract oxygen to breathe when it is on the land.
Okay guys, if you guys look down here, you'll notice the striped nose half-beaks. One thing about this fish is that they have very long lower jaw and a very short upper jaw. The lower jaws are filled with sensory organs which help them to detect any prey such as insects or any small vertebrate that fall on the surface of the water. As you can see over here, they are showing schooling behavior. So what schooling behavior is that they swim together as a whole group. What this does is that it intimidates predators, as one big group looks way more scarier than just being alone as a single individual. And it also confuses predators, as when a predator tries to grab them, they will all swim away together in unison, which will confuse the predators as they don't know which fish to grab.
Since Singapore is a coastal island, we might think, oh, these sites will always be around. However, this could not be further from the truth. Our coastal habitats are a constant threat of our country's pursuit for more land via land reclamation projects. Already, 800 hectares of land have been reclaimed off Pulau Tekong, and even more projects are slated for woodlands and east coast, which are worryingly close to our biodiversity hotspots. These projects could risk directly destroying our coastal habitats such as mangroves, mudflats, or coral reefs, or indirectly affect the biodiversity living in them by redirecting sediment and nutrition that animals in these habitats need to survive. If we do not pressure those in charge to be more discerning with their land reclamation projects, the coastal biodiversity that we have may be a thing of the past. Campaigns to scale down on specific projects have worked before. They can work again.